Greetings. This is a different environment than many of the previous videos that I've made. Different room. Maybe a different vibe. Maybe it'll work. I hope it does. I'm kind of running out of rooms to figure this studio thing out. But I don't know what to say but to start. So I'm going to start with a question I get quite often, mostly on the Instagram. Why blue ink for these wild and crazy drawings? Why blue ink? Because I got this one and this one. I'm certain I have so many more. This one. This one. And this one. Well, it's upside down. Why blue ink? Why not any other kind of ink? I do the comic book work and the illustration work with black ink. Why wouldn't I use the black ink instead of the blue ink? Well, it's a throwback, really. I'll show you how awesomely. Awesomely organized I am. It's a throwback from growing up. We didn't have much growing up. I know a lot of people like to say that, and to varying degrees they're true, but we didn't have very much. And so I didn't like using pencils because pencils tend to get blunt, and that just doesn't do. And pencils are kind of messy. And that's something that just doesn't work either. So I was left with pen. And living kind of hand to mouth as we did, quite often the pen of choice was just a cheapo Papermate blue ballpoint. So that was what I generally used for drawing. Finding a black ink pen was like finding a treasure, a diamond in the rough. So for the most part, a lot of the drawing was done with the blue ballpoint pen. So much of the use of the blue ink here, I like to contrast. It's a little different. And it is a callback to earlier times. So exciting, isn't it? It is suspenseful. I'm not. Well, how to say it? I'm not fixed on the blue ink. The interesting thing about the blue ink is it has different tones and shades. So if you go and you buy this Bombay Blue, one bottle will be a little bit darker than another. You can create interesting shades by diluting it. But there is also the irony of using such a bright color for gloomy subject matter. Let's see. We're going to go to the eyeball first here. This is also a reason for the freehand ink. Because I didn't use pencil growing up. I actually grew up quite annoyed in classes that required us using pencil. Because I always liked to use ballpoint pen. And for drawing, there we go. And for drawing, I highly recommend it because you can't take back your mistakes. You learn from them. And you can't really learn from a mistake if you erase your mistake. And if you are aware that each line you're putting down is permanent, you can't get rid of it. You think ahead a few steps. You think clearer about the one thing you're going to do next, and the next, and the next. It doesn't guarantee that everything is going to be wonderful and perfect. You're also adding a lot of variables. That if you planned something out laboriously, those variables will go away. Maybe. One of the things you get so terrified of making a mistake. And doing freehand ink helps to mitigate that fear. Because this is the ironic thing, is because you're actually adding a higher probability of making a mistake by not planning it out, by freehanding the ink. But, art isn't so much about control, is it? Advertising, graphic design. These things require a little bit of control. Because you need to be clear on your message and clear on how you want to communicate your message. That's one of the reasons why propaganda looks so sterile. Because of how planned out it is. Because propaganda is designed to create a psychological effect. And you need to be very clear on which part of the brain you want to manipulate using propaganda. So control with propaganda, and again, like advertising, requires quite a bit of control, understanding. But with art in general, what do you really gain by having that much control? How much? Unless the artwork is designed specifically to manipulate the emotions, to take an active role in the outlook and the psychology of the viewer. And all visual media is going to have some level of manipulation, or else it's not functional. And the viewer is not responding to it. But that should be only a small part of it. Anyway, kind of a little bit of a pointless ramble. When I'm drawing, I usually clear the mind, so I don't usually find myself in a verbalized state when I'm drawing. So if these seem to ramble a bit, well, that's just how it rolls. But the drawing kind of produces a state of I don't know, hypnosis, maybe. Similar to a dream state. I won't say anything about meditation. It just seems such a hipster thing. But it's similar to reaching a certain level of dream state. Good. I hear someone starting up their lawnmower, so perfect time for this to be over. Thank you for tolerating this ramble.